Welcome to the podcast, Can You Take My Shift? Your favorite coworkers are off the clock and back for another episode. Was that a new intro? Why indeed, kids, it was! Because guess what, my dear sweet Amy? Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary! Oh,
I remembered!
You did. I honestly forgot. So it's a good thing one of us remembered.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So it's technically the day this episode is coming out is not exactly our anniversary because our best friend had the brass balls to get married one day after our anniversary. So
the audacity of this woman.
Yeah. It's too much, but that's fine. You know, we'll celebrate. We've got bigger, best things planned for our anniversary.
Absolutely.
But this is our special edition anniversary episode where we're going to take a time to reflect on the journey that we have had over this year. Now, 2020 and 2021 have been a year for everybody.
Yes.
But we're going to talk just about our year on this podcast and the highs, the lows, what we have learned, what we have done well, what we have failed at.
Yeah.
And just kind of reminisce and give thanks to everyone who has been with us from the beginning, like Kaylee, and who have joined quite recently.
Yeah. We love you all very much equally.
Yeah.
Very equally.
But yeah, let's really get into this, but I just wanted to say this is actually really sweet for me because I on the podcast have talked about all of the jobs I have worked, and I have a bit of a commitment issue with jobs because I will get a job thinking they're gonna treat me well, they treat me like garbage, I leave. So I have only worked 4 jobs in my history of all the jobs I've worked for more than a year. I handed out ice skates once a week for a year. I worked at the movie theater for 2.5 years. I worked at an Italian restaurant for 2 years. And I will have almost worked at the salon for 2 years. But I may not be working there anymore.
Oh.
We shall see. We'll have to find out next episode.
Yes, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll save all that interesting stuff
For next episode.
Because this episode's not about you, Kelsey. It's about us.
All right, I guess it can be about us.
Yes.
But yeah, so we have officially done this podcast for a year. I know when we first started recording, we were shocked we got to like 5 episodes.
Yeah, I think we said it like the 10th episode. We were like, oh my god, 10? And now we are at 36?
Yes, this will be our 36th episode. So when we first started the podcast, we were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and thinking we could do an episode every single week.
But okay, in our brains, we were in quarantine, we were in isolation, and we had all these ideas, and we were like, okay, if we post once a week, it gets our brains moving, it gets us doing something once a week. Like, then we had excuses to, you know, like, go, just like leave our house, like go outside, take photos, just like start working on things. So we just did every week, and for a while it was sustainable. But then we got lives and we got busy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to go back to school.
Yeah, I had to finish my last semester of school. And it got to be a lot. Like, kudos to the people who can do all that stuff. I am not one of those people. Like, we were doing the podcast, school, and working full-time jobs. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then I decided, I think I'm going to get into a relationship. So just put that on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that threw a wrench, but like, not really. Not really. But I don't know. This is also really sweet because when this episode comes out on the 8th, do you remember the day we went to buy our podcast mic?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I remember we were visiting your parents over in Victoria, and we we were like talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And then we talked about it with your parents because they're like, is this something you guys are going to like, you know, like typical parents, is this something you're going to actually commit to? Because the microphone we bought, it was like $200.
It was $200, yes. My mom was like, if this is something you two are actually going to commit to, let's get in the Jeep. So we climb into my mother's little Jeep.
Yep.
And she drives us to London Drugs.
Yep.
Our American listeners, that is like our CVS.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we go to the electronics section, and you and I were like, do we get like the Snowball mics? Do we get like the gamer headsets? Like we
had no idea. And the thing is, online, people were saying, oh, you can get like this or you can get this. So we talked to a guy and he's like, yeah, just get like one mic because we record in the same room. We just need one mic, I guess. I guess we could have gotten two.
Yeah.
But at the time, investing in two $200 microphones was a lot of money.
That wasn't really in the budget.
No. Again, we were like barely working because it was COVID.
Yeah.
So we had to figure it out. But I just remember we were like, okay, we're doing this. We bought a microphone. And then we got home. We brainstormed a logo. We brainstormed ideas, and then we recorded like two weeks later because that would have been the 16th.
We did. We recorded.
We recorded that week, and and then the episode came out the 16th. We recorded at our table in our old apartment. Where in the first episode, if you go back and listen, the buzzing in the background is our fridge.
Yeah. So we did like the first 2 episodes in the living room.
Yeah.
And then we were like, maybe we should move this to our bedroom where there's not a buzzing from the fridge.
Yeah.
So we moved it to our bedroom, and we recorded on my bedroom floor for probably like
a good solid like 6 months.
Yeah, and then one day I had the idea, hey, why don't we just sit on my bed? Because we're like, the microphone needs something hard to sit on. So I took literally a lid from a bin, put it on the bed, put the microphone, and since I had a memory foam mattress, microphone didn't move.
Yeah.
And we're like, we could have been doing this.
From the beginning, we didn't have to sit on the floor and get sticky and gross.
And like our butts just hurting from the hardwood.
Yeah, like our tailbones. Yeah. So that wasn't our smartest play at the time, but that's our little humble beginnings, and we've moved on to slightly bigger things. I mean, we still record on a bed.
Yeah. But you know what? It's part of the fantasy.
It is.
But before we get into more into the episodes we've recorded, I want to talk quickly about our analytics. So our most listened to episode is, of course, the one that's been out the longest, our very first episode.
Yes.
Then our second most listened to episode is our third episode, Let's Be Friends or Never Speak Again.
Yes.
Now, this is just from Apple, from Spotify, from all of those streaming services, because we also have a YouTube channel, and that doesn't count our YouTube videos.
No.
And our most viewed YouTube video is, again, the first one. And then the next most viewed would be our Christmas special, which is not on our other streaming services. That's just for YouTube.
Yes.
Gingerbread houses. Yeah. It's currently at 68 views, so if one person just wants to quickly watch it...
And just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
Yeah. And then the next one would be our recent one, Besties Truth or Drink, which was a really fun one with our friend Kaylee. If you haven't given it a watch, please give it a watch. There's many quotable moments in there.
Yeah, we do. I think I was talking to somebody about it, and like usually with Truth or Drink, you only drink when the question comes up. No, we're drinking through the entire video. We completely threw that concept out of the door. We just took longer swigs when we didn't want to answer a question, or we would drink and then answer, which you're also not supposed to do. So we kind of broke every single rule for that game, but still good content.
Yeah,
still good content.
And then our least listened to episode is our tax season episode, which I understand.
Yeah, no one wants to listen to tax.
Nobody wants to listen to tax season. I mean, on the YouTube, it's a different episode. Only one person has viewed How to Succeed at Business and The Bachelor. So clearly YouTube does not like The Bachelor. Which is
weird.
strange.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. But also, does anybody like The Bachelor or Bachelorette right now? They're going through all sorts of issues.
Yeah. But let's get back to those first couple of videos. So the first one was all about who we are. The second one, talks about us working at the coffee shop.
Yes.
Then you have Let's Be Friends or Never Speak Again, because you and I have met so many people in our customer service journey. Some people we do still, we're in one of our coworkers' weddings, you know? And then we have people who I used to see all the time and be like, girl, I love you. And I have not spoken to this person in 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's just something that happens. And then we have episode 4, which is Supply Closet Romance. Now, when I recorded this episode, I was like, oh my God, I am sharing too much. Like, this is a lot. I am sharing so much. This is like, I shouldn't be putting this on the internet.
And now we just posted a video of us getting absolutely smashed.
Yeah, and I have talked about, some trauma as well. So, you don't know what you're in for.
Yeah. Well, and as far as, the more you get comfortable, then obviously you're going to, share more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then we moved on to episode 5, which is one of my favorite titles, I gotta say. When I came up with Karen, the Unmasked Avenger, I patted myself on the back for that title.
You were very proud of that one.
Yeah. And, I gotta say, I still deal, the pandemic in Canada, especially in BC, COVID cases are dropping. Everyone's getting their single dose. Now people are getting their double doses. I am getting mine in a couple of days from when we're recording this, and I'm very excited.
Woo!
But people still aren't behaving, and I have dealt with a couple people, and it's just why? They say there's only 2 things certain in life: death and taxes.
Yep.
I think we can add Karens to that list as well.
I think so.
Yeah. There will always be horrible people who attack customer service workers for no reason.
So there's a new rule of 3. There are 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, and Karens.
Yeah, truly. And then we get to my favorite episode of all of our early episodes, which was Money Please. Now that's when we talked about MLMs. I went through a period where I went down the MLM YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Where I listened to so many MLMs. I was researching them. Even last week, my mom was like, oh, have you heard of this Monet shampoo? My friend says it's really good. And I was like, no. It's an MLM. And then she's like, what that? And then I had to explain to her. I was like, I've explained to you in the past what an MLM is.
Yeah.
Dad's even worked for a multi-level marketing scheme before.
Yeah. Back
in the 90s when he sold vacuums.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. And that was actually the first episode I found for myself where I thought we were really hitting our stride.
We were, and it was really good just talking about something that was different and that we could have our own kind of opinion on, in a sense. So that was really cool.
Because it was the first time talking, neither of us have worked for an MLM.
No.
Thankfully, we're smarter than that. Yeah, we're smarter than that, and we were never in a place in our life where we fell victim to it.
Yes.
I was searching for jobs, and I got a job interview, and I was reading the description. I was like, this doesn't make sense for this salary for an entry-level marketing position.
Yeah.
To find out it was a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this stuff happens, and when people are desperate enough, that's how MLMs prey. And that was the first episode. I had so much research. I could make a part 2 possibly in the future.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And then we move on. So we were kind of hitting our stride, figuring out what worked for the podcast, what didn't work for the podcast. I'm not a big fan of episode 10, but it was just exciting that we hit 10 episodes.
Yes.
And then let's talk about episode 14. Now, our life was going through a change. We went from the summer, I turned 25, I was going back to school, and I met someone who I, for the first time, mentioned in episode 14.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that person is now my boyfriend, who Amy and I live with.
Yep.
And it's really funny because, super fan of the show, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. Now you have officially, since now we're allowed to see people, we met Tracy when we were going to go pick up our bridesmaids' dresses. By the way, we look fabulous in them.
We do.
Yeah. And Tracy said to us, I powered through the first, amount of episodes when Trevor told me you had a podcast to get to the one where he was first mentioned. And I was like, oh, that's Trevor. And Tracy, you powered through 14 episodes. That is 14 hours.
Bless your soul, Tracy.
Bless your soul.
you.
And yeah, I was so nervous about even mentioning that I was starting to see someone, because in my past, anytime I have ever posted about a boyfriend, the relationship has ended very quickly.
Yes, and there were past episodes where you were kind of talking about you were seeing someone, or you'd gone on dates with people, and obviously none of those
had worked out. Yeah,
because there's also an episode, I don't know which one it is, but at the end of that episode, the person I was seeing, you made a snide comment and left it at the end of the episode, but funny enough, they never listened to that episode. So
exactly, you were dating someone who was listening to the podcast, and they no longer.
I don't even technically consider it dating. So
yeah, you were.
I was seeing something.
You were watching movies.
Basically, yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah. And we brought up in previously episode 2, it's the famous quote, "Do you have COVID? Kelsey, I'm trying to kiss you."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was funny.
And that kind of was a huge shift. And I was very nervous to even say his name for a while. And I remember one time when you were editing, you're you accidentally said his name. Do you want me to edit it out?
Yeah. And I think you were yes, so I did, which is fine. But I think now you've said his name, but we've also asked. We like to try to ask our friends permission.
Yes.
But then there's some times where we're I'm sure they're fine with it.
Yeah,
last week with Caitlin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got a lovely, lovely text message from Caitlin after last week. Let me pull it up word for word because I don't want to misquote her.
And in case you guys missed last week in the episode, Kelsey calls our lovely, lovely friend Caitlin a sneaky bitch.
No, a sneaky little bitch.
A sneaky little bitch.
Yeah, I got, just listen to the podcast, ... I will admit, ... I am a sneaky little bitch. Don't ever regret those light up shoes. And we love this woman.
We do. We absolutely stan her.
And we have our friend Traveler, who would prefer that we don't use her name.
Yes, exactly.
And we respect it. We respect everyone's choice, whether or not, we talk about our enemies, and we don't have consent to mention their names. So unless they have truly wronged us, then we don't use their names.
Exactly.
But there's a couple who have truly wronged us that, we've let it slip.
We have a couple times, and it's fine, because they're never going to listen. And if they do, well, okay.
Yeah, so, and I guess that goes to episode 15. I'm sorry you hate me. Yeah.
Great segue.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic segue.
And then we have a couple more episodes. We talk about being sick. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's one of Amy's favorite lines just to ever say in person.
Yeah, I don't know why. I say that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And then we get to episode 18, which was our very first interview.
Yeah, it was our foray into interview, but it was also for Kelsey's school project.
So for my school project, we had to do a podcast, and you were put into a group, and you didn't get to pick your group.
No.
And everybody knew in my class that I had a podcast, and I wasn't allowed to do the podcast by myself because then I would have just submitted an episode.
Yeah.
So I asked my teacher if I could just have I asked my group members first. I said, if this is okay, would you guys just want to be guests on my podcast? Then you guys really, it was minimum work. They had to do the most minimum effort.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, my group members were cool. And then my teacher was like, oh yeah, that's great. So Amy and I did all of the work, and I gave my group members the barest of they had to do like literally 1%.
They just had to. We gave them a script. You gave them a script of questions they had to answer and then record it.
Yeah. And that was pulling teeth.
Yes.
Because there was 3 of them.
Yeah.
And one of them was like pulling teeth. And I explained it to her 8 times. And I understand that, you know what, she was a mature student and technology is not a lot of people's friends.
Yeah.
But when I am literally doing 99% of the group project that I said I would do, and you can barely do the 1%.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it is a group project and you still have to pull your weight, even though there are circumstances. Like, yes, but these are circumstances that you have put yourself into.
Yeah. And that episode is hard because we posted it and it did not do well. And you listen to their interview, the little interviews with them, and it doesn't sound great.
No.
It doesn't. Like, to be honest, it doesn't sound great. But then after that, a lot of people stopped listening, and that's where you have our interview with my ex-husband, Keegan. For those listening, we never were married. It's a joke. But that was the whole point of the episode, where it's a joke where we talk about my boyfriend's roommate thinking I was actually married to Keegan.
Yeah, because she was listening to the podcast and sat your boyfriend down and was like, did you know that Kelsey was married?
Yeah. And it's so funny. And like, your brother is so funny. I mean, sometimes, Keegan, we gotta keep you on track.
Yeah, like, Keegan, listen to this.
Yeah.
I love you, but you're also like a real piece of work.
And like, you know, like, I am chaotic good. Keegan, you're chaotic evil.
Yes, in every sense of the way.
Yeah. And it's so funny, but a lot of people didn't listen because of the middle interview. But unfortunately, that's what I had to do for the school project. And, you know, I probably should just have cut them out in the long run, but then that would have looked really shitty on me.
Yeah, we could have went about it so many other ways, but at the end of the day, it's done and it's over with.
But yeah, if you want to just like skip the part and you're like, oh, there's more to this episode, yeah, Keegan was really funny.
Yeah, Keegan's a lad.
Yeah.
Love the guy. He's a lad.
And then we moved on to reality TV, and our first episode that did really well for an interview was Love and Other Drugstore Tales.
Yeah.
We had one of my oldest friends, Camille, on, and that episode did really well. Mm-hmm. Because Camille is one of the funniest people I've ever met. She's very much that dry funny.
Yes.
And, you know, I've worked with Camille, and I mean, one of the biggest kind of ploys was she worked at an adult store.
Yes.
How many people do you know who've worked at an adult store?
Not very many.
Yeah. And that kind of episode kind of taught us, all right, so this is how we need to be doing an interview. This is what works.
Yes.
And we talked for hours, and we realized, okay, well, our podcast is only an hour. And we were like, okay, we can't force it all in one episode. Like, we want to have Camille back for a part 2. Like, we have almost all of our guests we've had on. We could easily make a second episode with them.
Yes, because I think most of those episodes almost hit an hour, and then we're like, we've had to like cut. We get to like 45 minutes. We're like, we gotta cut it.
Mm-hmm. Because we are like, all of the people in our life are so interesting, and I think in the future we like having the interviews, because it was a nice break of us trying to think, oh God, what do we do? What's the topic? Because like we talk about, you know, there is that creator burnout.
Yes.
And trying to, I know this is kind of the time where we're like, maybe we should pull back from every week.
Yeah.
It was one of the last kind of episodes we were doing every single week. Mm-hmm. We're like, okay, we need to pull back.
Yeah.
And I think that was good for us to find, okay, interviews seem to work well. It gives us less creator burnout, and it brings a new perspective.
Yep.
And then from that, we moved on to Christmas, where we kind of dabbled more into multimedia content. You know, we made a video of us decorating on Instagram. We made a YouTube video of us actually on camera building a gingerbread house, which was fun.
Yes.
And chaotic, which is who we are.
Yep.
And then that kind of led to, okay, maybe we should be making more multimedia content. And this was after I just finished my first semester, where didn't really do anything about social media. I finished my public speaking class with a 99.
Nice.
So I guess clearly I lost the 1% because I forgot to say my name, and that is on me.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, you have to start a speech, even if you're speaking to people you have known for 6 months. Hello, my name is Kelsey.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Gotta introduce yourself every time.
Exactly. So hello. That's what I do on the podcast. And then we moved on to kind of got more again back in those episode rhythm. And then episode 25 is my second favorite episode. I think it's Amy's
This
favorite
is my
episode.
favorite episode. It's so good. It's so good.
So that is The Real World Parks and Recreation.
Yes.
Which I'm currently rewatching with my boyfriend right now, and that show very much holds up.
Yes.
But my mom has worked in Parks and Rec for years, and she doesn't want to be on the podcast, and that's fine, because she kind of has stage fright, and we totally respect her boundaries.
Yeah.
But she has so many stories, and I can't listen to that episode without laughing.
Oh no, it's so good. It's like the park pooper. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Like the park pooper getting interrogated by a naked woman.
Yeah. There's just so many crazy things.
Yeah. Oh, and that, I heard from quite a few people, that episode just was so good and so funny. And then it was just nice because we were getting more of that feedback.
Yes.
Yeah. And then after that one is one of my favorites. So we decided, let's talk about episode 26, Amy, the dating game. Because I love this. So this came out February 11th.
Yes, it
Right
did.
before Valentine's Day.
Yep.
I was now in a committed relationship with my boyfriend.
Yep.
And Amy had been tinkering around with dating, but nothing
Nothing since the summer.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing since the summer.
and nothing had stuck, and we weren't meeting cool people. And Amy before pandemic was going to do the real dating game that I did.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're like, hey, let's do a virtual one, and it was a new concept. Well, I thought it was you know what, let's try it. If it's terrible, we never have to do anything like this
Yeah.
again. So I asked my boyfriend for men, because
I need men.
I need men, bring me men. So, because most of my friends are, my friends are 90% women. Now I'm starting to make more male friends, but they're
Yeah.
couples friends.
Yeah.
And I didn't know really any single bachelors, and we wanted them to be mystery. We wanted you to not know them, because if you already knew them, you knew if you'd like them or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had bachelor number 1, who is now our 4th roommate.
Yep.
Didn't work out with him. You had met him once prior, so he wasn't a total.
Wasn't a total mystery.
Yeah. You had met him once since he was Trevor's roommate previously, and now lives with because the 4 of us moved in together.
Yeah.
You met him on New Year's.
Yep.
The 4 of us had a very fun time.
Yep.
We all toasted at New Year's.
We did.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Exactly. We almost burnt our fingers off with sparklers.
Exactly. It's a great time.
Great time. So we're like, all right, we have one man. I kind of cornered him and said, you're going to do this. And then this bachelor number 2 was Trevor's best friend.
Yep.
Who took quite a bit of convincing.
Yep.
And he is a very lovely person. Sadly, I'm sorry, Amy, it did not work out between you two. He won.
We still even haven't met.
Yeah, you still haven't met.
No.
Yeah, we've played games all together once virtually, and that's the only time you've met him.
Yep.
And then bachelor number 3 was voluntold
Yeah.
by fan of the show, Paula.
Yeah.
I've never met him in person. I've never met bachelor number 3 in person. He is a gamer who is 6'8".
It's a tall man.
He is a tall man, because he's in the gaming community in BC, so that's how my boyfriend knows him.
Yeah.
And I have seen, there's a really funny picture of my boyfriend, our roommate, and then bachelor number 3, and he towers over all of the other guys.
Well, yeah, he's a whole foot taller than
Yeah.
all of them, so it makes sense.
Well, like, my boyfriend is almost 6 feet tall, and, like, he makes him look so tiny.
Yeah, like, that's crazy. It's so insane.
So, but they all fit the bill. Amy used to be into tall, skinny white boys.
Yeah, now it's not that at all.
Yeah. And then what did Amy go ahead and do after I spent so much time? Like, I conned 3 men into it.
You conned 3 men? This sounds awful.
I didn't. They were all very willing participants.
They are all very willing participants.
Yeah. We still owe Bachelor number 2 a bottle of
We
wine.
still owe him a bottle of wine for participating.
Because he said he didn't really want the Denny's gift certificate, and I said fair. Yeah. But no, what did you go off and do, Amy?
I didn't go off and do anything. You make it sound like it's just like, no.
We did photo shoots.
It was really funny because when we did this idea, we were like, sure, why not? And again, I've never been the biggest fan of dating. And I was just like, you know what? All these guys, like, I just know. I never took it seriously. None of them took it seriously. It wasn't a serious concept in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, like, it wasn't serious unless, like, you and someone actually really hit it off.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Which didn't really happen.
No.
So.
Like, I think the 3 of us, like, all 3 of them, Bachelor number 1 and 2 and 3, I know probably none of you are listening. You're all invited to my birthday party. Maybe we can take a group photo.
Oh my gosh, that'd actually be really funny.
Well, I know Bachelor 1's coming to my birthday because he's just been told.
Yes, he lives
here
with us. It's no choice.
You have no
excuse.
no excuse. But, Amy, stop trying to get out of it. What did you go and do?
I'm not trying to get out of it. I was just saying, like, prefacing, like, it was a weird episode to have to explain to everybody, because I had to explain to my parents, I had to explain to family, I had to explain to friends, because they were all like, so now who are you dating? Who are you dating? Who are you dating? And I was like, none of them. It was fine. I had to explain to both my parents why owning a bed frame is such a big deal.
I mean, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just be an adult, own a bed frame.
Yeah.
Bare minimum effort. Yeah, no, I am now dating a woman. So there you go. That's oddly enough, it happened the week that episode came out.
She's like, screw 6 foot tall boys. I'm gonna find me a 5 foot tall woman. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting, but like, it was a weird time in my life in general. Like, I had some other stuff happen. We almost didn't go through with the episode because of personal circumstances that came through my end, like 2 days before we had to record. I was like, no, we had put so much time and effort into this that we have to do it. And yeah, so my life has been very different since that episode. Yeah,
it has, but I got
in a good way.
In a good way.
Very good way.
In a good way. Amy is like actually, happy. Amy,
what a concept!
What a concept! I can only do so much. Someone else just had to help me out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend took one for the team for me a little bit too, so it's only fair someone else did it in return.
Exactly. Then we had our friend Traveler on for another episode, and all of the work endeavors she has done. And then, so Amy decided to make a New Year's resolution to stream. Because Amy loves video games.
I love video games. I love playing video games.
And you were very nervous.
Incredibly nervous.
Because, you're doing something new. It's just like, we're like, okay, so we started a podcast. That was incredibly nervous. And then you're like, I'm going to stream.
Yeah, well, starting a podcast was a really good catalyst for us doing a lot of things because it just made us more comfortable of getting ourselves out there. And I think the nice thing with a podcast is we all have insecurities. Y'all can just hear our voices. We post like one photo a week of us looking really nice. And then you just hear our voices. Like, as we're recording this right now, we are trying not to sweat our asses off. And we have, like, no makeup on, all that stuff. So when you stream, most people show their faces. I was probably going to show my face. So insecurities go insane at that point. So you're like, I don't want people to like to judge how I look, but I just always wanted to play video games. Like, it's just something I like to do. So yeah, that was my New Year's resolution. I actually stuck to it, and that was when we did our first games night, which was a lot of fun. We played Jackbox with a couple of the bachelors, our friends, some other guests.
And it went incredibly well.
Yeah, I think literally the minute we stopped recording, I could not stop crying.
And like, you have now, it was great for you because now Amy continues to stream.
I do.
Amy streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
Ooh, yes I do.
Yeah, I got that plug.
Thank you.
I am her publicist. Call me for any bookings, or I mean, you can call me for bookings to book me. I don't know what I do, but if you want podcast outlines. No, but you started streaming, which was fantastic, and somebody is now a Twitch is it affiliate or partner?
It's affiliate. No, partner is like...
Okay.
That's like when you're a lot bigger. But yeah, I got that, so that's kind of cool.
And you can actually make money.
Very, very little, but yes, it's exciting. It's exciting to see even that tiny amount. It's just nice to see that people like to watch me play video games, even when I'm terrible at them. So that's really nice.
And that was really exciting, and I've only been on your stream once. You're the only person who's let me be on their stream.
Yes.
Yeah. My boyfriend won't let me be on his stream because we found out I have a little bit of gamer rage.
Yes.
But I didn't grow up with video games. I grew up with like a Wii and Wii Sports, and that was it. So now playing games as an adult, like I'm terrible with a joystick. Like, I'm just terrible.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve, yeah, because like now I'm playing it Takes Two. You were playing it with your boyfriend, and you were like, yeah, like the controls are really hard to learn. And I've been playing, I'm like, it's not that difficult. It's a little like the buttons. I constantly forget the controls, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. And then after that, we decided, hey, I know it's still a pandemic, but we have a podcast. Amy's streaming. Kelsey is just finishing school. Oh, you guys want to move?
Just throw that in there.
Yeah.
And I think for like 3 weeks straight, so like a month and a half, we just would not shut up about moving. But it's because it was stressful.
It was very stressful. It was very annoying. There was things that went incredibly wrong. Like, I definitely ordered the wrong size U-Haul.
Yes, you did.
But, you know,
What kind of gay are you? You don't know how to order U-Hauls, Kelsey?
Hey, I underestimated the amount of crap we all have.
That is fair.
I truly underestimated because when you move, you don't realize how much stuff you accumulate until it's moving time, and you're like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
So yeah, definitely ordered the wrong size U-Haul. I know for next time. And we were like, all right, we are gonna, our place has an office, and we're gonna, once we move, we're gonna record the podcast in there, and we're gonna be on camera every week. And then that has not happened.
But also, Kelsey caught COVID as soon as we moved. We had to do that social distance episode. Unfortunately, the office that we thought we were going to be able to record in, it's a little tight. It's a little tiny.
Yeah.
We haven't fully figured out how we can get it to work for us yet.
Because my boyfriend works from home, so he has to work out of the office because I didn't want... With his job, he works all hours of the day, so I didn't want, since I have to get up very early for work, I was like, I can't have your computer in our bedroom, or I'm never going to be asleep, because I'm the world's lightest sleeper.
Exactly.
So that is still TBD. We are still recording on, it was my bed frame. I gave it to you once we moved.
Yes, it's now my bed.
But maybe we'll just record the episodes, film them sitting on the bed. We get like 2 handheld microphones, maybe some like pajamas. It's a slumber party. I don't know. Would people watch that?
I would. It'd be cozy.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. All I know is more things are coming, and then we'll wrap up with our last couple episodes. Amy quit the coffee shop that had been there from the beginning.
Yep.
Amy just went ahead and quit.
I did. It still doesn't feel real. It really doesn't, but it's also probably because I still have my key.
Return your keys.
I'm honestly shocked my manager hasn't been like, hey, you want to give back your key? And I kind of be like, no.
No, just a no with the heart back, no.
Yeah, so I think that's probably why I still have the key on my keychain. I do need to return it.
Because the coffee shop was a big part of your personality for many years.
It really was. And now I'm like, I don't know what to talk about anymore. I'm boring now.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So, but
I'm a lot happier now because I don't come home every day wanting to pull out my hair.
Except now you have to start paying for coffee.
I do. I don't go to the coffee shop anymore because I forgot how expensive it was. So I'm like, no. But on the positive side, the reason I was kind of able to quit the coffee shop was this like podcast kind of gave me like a sense of self-worth and drive. Also, I found a better job. But I was able to prioritize myself and my life and my worth and my work ethic through the podcast. So that's been really nice.
Yeah, and besides, Amy, Trevor and I got you an espresso for your birthday.
Absolutely.
So, like, you don't need to pay for overpriced
the coffee shop.
Yeah, we got you an espresso. Nespresso, if you would like to sponsor us.
Please.
We need pods.
Please.
But yeah, and then last week we finally had Kaylee on. She'd been bugging us from the beginning. You said you were going to have me on as a guest. I said I would come on. Like, I am ready anytime. And
see, okay, 1 second. I know Kaylee's going to listen to this too. There were so many times where we'd be like, yeah, like, does this work for you? No, I'm busy. But it was on both of our ends because we don't have like a very set like recording schedule. Like we try to record like Sundays or Mondays, give or take. And that doesn't always work out for Kaylee because Kaylee's a busy girl, okay? Yeah. She's a busy girl boss. She got a lot going on for her. So I don't come after us, Kaylee, being like, I've been ready this entire time. No. It was share some of the blame.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fine. She's getting married. She's got an adult job. She's got 3 cats. Lord help her.
Yeah.
We know the little kitty is a menace.
Yes, she's truly hitting mid-age.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we even got a cat too.
We did.
Yeah, she's cool.
She's just nice. She just chills.
Yeah, she's pretty chill. Although she will not eat the salmon treats, but she will eat the fake plants. So she a bit...
Those are cats for you, man. They're strange. They're strange animals.
But yeah, that is a recap of the year we have had. And it has been... honestly, a shit year, but also an incredibly wonderful year. And I have cried a lot, like I normally do. Like, that's nothing new. But I have not smiled this much in a very long time. And it's comes back to what I always say, because, you know, I talk to people about, like, manifesting, and, like, I'm a little bit of an astrology hoe, but mainly just for, like, the fun in it.
Yeah, exactly.
You get out what you put into things.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I'd come up with ideas, and I'd be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a brand. And then I have a problem with follow through.
Yes.
And things I would maybe do one thing and it wouldn't work. And I am very much a dreamer. And dreamers are wonderful, but they need realists to hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. So if you're a dreamer like me, get you a business partner. They don't have to be all the other stuff that Amy is to me. But get you a business partner who is a realist and who holds you accountable, because that is the best work that will come out.
Yeah, I think we do a really good job of, like, balancing each other out, because I'm not the most creative person. Like, I can be in, like, some circumstances, but I have a really, really hard time of putting myself out there. I get really nervous. I don't like to put myself out there. I'm like, no, it's like, you can't be disappointed if you don't put yourself out there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just one of those things. But having you here has helped me get a lot more comfortable and get to know myself more. And it's just been really nice, because now we're able to, you know, we talk about, like, all these things that go into the podcast, and we're able to, like, bounce back ideas and, like, make our dreams into a reality. And it's a nice, small little podcast. But it's been really, like, lovely and meaningful. And it's, like, I don't want to cry. It's changed our lives in, like, really, really positive ways. And, like, we're not fucking Joe Rogan. Like,
Gross.
No,
I don't want to be.
Okay, that's a bad example.
I think you might be taller than Joe Rogan.
I think so.
Yeah.
I can kick that man over. It's just like it's changed our lives in like so many ways, and it's been really funny because a lot of the people who have listened to our podcast over the year are the people that we're closest with to nowadays. And it's been really nice because we started in the middle of a pandemic when we weren't able to see people, so this was our way of sharing what we were doing with people, right?
Yeah, and like, as funny as it is, the podcast is the reason why Amy and I are in happy relationships.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. I don't know if my boyfriend will be comfortable with me sharing with this, but I will give him a cookie and share it with anyways. So we went on our first date and we were both kind of unsure about each other, and I was like kind of fine with maybe not seeing him again, and he felt the same way, but then he had to do a long drive and he listened to, because I told him on our first date about our podcast, he listened to a bunch of episodes and was like, oh, and texted me, and then telling me, I listened to your podcast. Like, I listened to quite a few episodes while I was driving, and I was like, wow, this is somebody who actually, bars on the floor here, ladies, listen to me and cares what I have to say. And now I share a bed with this man in a heat wave.
It's true love.
Yeah. And Amy, your partner?
Yeah, my partner slid into my DMs over our podcast in an episode where we were talking about grilled cheese, and here we are now.
Yeah. You know, and it's fine.
Having a great time.
Yeah, when she can't see you, she's got you on demand. She has got 36 episodes on demand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, so this podcast has definitely, changed our lives for the better. Like I said, we are not huge, we're not massive, we're not overly successful, but I think if this podcast and this year's taught us anything, it's that we've been able to stick to something for a year and stick to it together, and it's helped us branch out into our own things. Like I would not have started streaming if it wasn't for the podcast. You've branched out more into TikTok now because you've started to get more comfortable with putting yourself out there, right? And now, like, you understand social media more because, like, you're schooling, and now, like, you're helping out with that end of the podcast, too, which has been really nice. And it's been nice being able to, like, talk to you about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, graphic design is now my passion.
Thank you, Canva.
Yeah. Thank you, Canva. But now I've moved on to Adobe.
Yes.
Yeah. But I want to wrap this episode up with, so I know I talked about, like, manifesting and goals and put out there what you want to get back. 1 year from now, we're gonna decide on 3 goals.
Okay.
And in our 2-year anniversary,
okay,
we're gonna see if we completed those goals. So my first goal is get 1 episode sponsored. We have a year to get 1 sponsored episode.
Okay. I feel like that's, yeah. Okay.
Because they're right, go back to school. What's your SMART goals? What is your attainable goals?
Yes.
And number 2 is have 50% of our episodes be filmed for YouTube in person.
That's not starting, like, on the date.
No.
Okay. I'm like, that needs
50%. So even if it's 6 months from now and then we do it for the rest, that's 50%.
Okay, that is fair.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, I don't think we're going to be ready for that in, like, 2 weeks.
And then I decided to pick a vanity metric here. Let's get a cheeky 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Okay.
I feel like we could do that.
Yep.
We're cute.
We're cute.
We have a cat now.
We do.
So she doesn't pay rent, so we're gonna exploit her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you think, Amy? Do you think those are 3 achievable but still, like, lofty goals? Because we're not going to be like, oh, let's gain 20 followers in a year. Because, like, come on.
That'd be a little sad.
Yeah.
Because we gained like 120 in a year.
Yeah.
so that's nice.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think those 3 goals here at the CYTMS team that you, Amy, God, I forget all your job titles. And then Kelsey and I, who have all of my job titles, do you think, and Kaylee, our photographer.
We got a lot of job titles, man.
Yeah.
So many. I think that's very attainable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice. Cool.
Cool.
Tight.
Yeah. So, Amy, shall we give the 1 year anniversary edition of the outro.
Which will be the same kind of outro that we give every time.
But charge $10 more for it.
Okay. Sounds good. But thanks guys so much for listening to us this entire year. It's been a ride. It's been Mr. Toad's wild ride. It's been fun. It's been great. And I'm just going to keep saying it's great because I don't want to cry. But yeah, we'll continue to move on from there. You can follow us on all social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Can You Take My Shift. You can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. And hopefully, again, like we said, we'll have more content coming to YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed to there. You can follow Kelsey at Kelsey Peets on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. Can't forget TikTok, always be plugged in. And you can follow me, Amy, at Shelly Amy on Twitter and Instagram and on Twitch. So I think that's all we got for this week. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Are you gonna cry too?
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. We'll go cry together.
We'll go cry together.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
Until next time.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.